I want to give you a brief about myself. I'm the chief editor of the Arabic edition of Scientific American only since 2 years ago, but I have 22 years of experience as a journalist. I was working for a weekly newspaper, an Egyptian weekly newspaper in French language. I was the environment editor, so it's science, but not very complicated science. I also work as science communicator in different organizations and different projects funded by USAID and the European Commission. I think that the challenges of communicating science are almost the same everywhere in the world. How this? Oh. Okay, why it's important to communicate science? Actually, science is affecting us, is affecting our lives, our daily lives. It is affecting our beginning from our health to the car we are driving. And it's one of the main tools in solving problems of the society and also to raise the income of any country. So it's definitely important to communicate science. But how to do that? There are a lot of challenges. So I tried to find out some of the challenges, and if I give myself more time, I will find more challenges. So how to choose a paper to cover? You know, thousands of papers are published every week. So how do you choose? It's a big challenge. So for me, for example, in our publication, we are trying to choose the most meaningful papers for our region or for the problems that we are facing in our society. For example, we have a big problem of virus C. So any paper on virus C, we are eager to cover, so to give solution, and that's how you get reader interested. If you are reporting on something that is affecting their lives, understanding and assimilating scientific papers, this is a big issue because, at least in my country, most of science journalists and science communicators do not have a scientific background. So maybe they can do mistakes. So they should learn how to read a scientific paper and how to understand it. We are trying in our publication, some of our reporters have already scientific background. Some of them are having a grade in science, in engineering, and some in math, in physics, and so on. But some of them are only experienced journalists, but they are not very good in reading papers. So we are organizing workshops for them in the office, and we are inviting them, and we are teaching them how to read a paper. Also, the ability to simplify science. Okay, if we are using, for example, in Nature magazine, it is, the readers are scientists. It is addressed to scientists, so no problem if the language is a bit difficult. But if you are working for general readers, you should be simple as much as you can. Also, the ability to find the right terminology. For example, in Arabic, science is not produced in Arabic. and we are an Arabic magazine. So there is a lot of terminology, scientific terminology, that do not have a particular translation that is so accurate. So our editors are trying always to find how to explain the terminology so to make it as accurate as it should be. Make science stories appealing. This is another big issue. Sometimes you feel that science is boring, but actually science is not. How to make it look attractive. For communicators who are writing press release and they want journalists or editors to choose this press release to, we receive hundreds of press releases. So what is making us choose to report on this and not on that? It's the way it is presented and the way that it gives the impression that there is something interesting to write about this specific research. Also, to convince scientists to talk about their work. This is another issue. Many papers, we are working on under embargo paper in Nature or Eureka Alert. So it's on their on their press website, maybe a week before publishing the paper. And we are trying to, we assign the paper to a journalist. And sometimes when the journalist tries to talk to the scientist is not interested to talk at all. Either he is not convinced that talking to media is something important, and the other way, he is afraid that the journalist will do mistakes because he faced this before. So saying, why I should put my research in the hands of someone, I don't know how he will report it. And some reporters, it's to avoid this, we can work early enough on the paper and resend to, but in our case, this is not applicable all the time because we are reporting in Arabic. And all the main authors in most of the papers are English speakers. So this is not, but we can try to translate what exactly we quoted him on, and so he accepts the quotes. Also, the challenges are not, is to encourage decision maker to consider scientific evidence in their decisions. This is the big importance. If we are giving a good science research and we can prove how it is important for the society, so the decision maker can take decision based on it. We need to attract wider public to follow science coverage, and this we can do by using different way to communicate science. So it's not always like an article. We can use podcasts, we can use videos, and videos are actually the most attractive tool. So it's short and sweet, condensed with the it's wider viewed. Also, how to create businessmen to transform research into products. So this is to they should be convinced that this will make more money for them. So the society is in need of this or this research. For example, if we know that in the Arab region there is a shortage of water, so all desalination technology are good research that we can work on and get governments and not even businessmen who are interested to turn this research into application. Create new generation of science reporters. And we were trying to do this in Egypt through the press syndicate. So we are very few, not only in Egypt, in the whole Arab region. I was a board member of the Arab Science Journalists Association, and we were about 80 in the whole Arab region, specialized science journalists in different, covering different science categories. So we need that youth generation learn from us. So we are doing workshops in the press syndicate, so to explain to the youth how important and how to be a good science journalist. And we explain to them, because always income is important. So we give them the explanation of how to earn money and whom to freelance and so on. And this is a video. I talked about video before. The steps to overcome. So I also mentioned this. This is important. When we interview the scientist, we, as a journalist or even science communicator, we are not experts in all science branches. So it's fair to ask silly questions, no problem. Journalists are the only people who can ask silly questions, because when you ask any question which come to your mind, it will help you to understand more, and you can never report on something that you don't understand. So if you assimilate and understand, you can simplify, and the message will be very clear. And never feel confident about your knowledge. You are not you don't have enough experience in the field. And always try to find an interesting angle and a catchy start, so to make the readers glad they read you. Don't report a wrong story. A lot of research who are not peer-reviewed can be wrong. It could be wrong, really. So to be always credible, we are doing this in our publication. We are covering research only published in peer-reviewed journals, as we are not scientists. So how to be confident about any research? Other scientists should review and agree, this is a good research and there is something new. So that's when we have this, we publish something on it. We are also keen to interview independent journalists who are not involved in the research, so to get their side. And it's always good to try to cover science in different formats, as I told you. And that's all, and thank you. If anyone knows how to read Arabic, I saw someone, a Russian, who learned Arabic in the university, so they can follow our social media pages and our publication. Thank you.
We can have a brief question and answer session. Do anyone have a question for Dalia? Yeah.
Hello, my name is Natalia Rose. I work at ITMO University, and I'm a student of first program of master's degree program in science communications. And I have a question. What other channels of communication, in your opinion, are effective besides magazines, in your opinion? Maybe social media or something like this. What could you tell us about effectiveness of these channels?
Actually, social media is now very important. We have mainly like 70% of our readers coming from our Facebook page. So social media is really important and is a very good tool of communication. So this is actually the best. It will not replace magazines, but because maybe if you want a deeper read, a related articles in the same field of or category, under the same category of the article you are reading, you are following a certain journalist, so you will find this specific information only when you go to the website directly. But definitely most of our readers come to the website via the social media.
Okay, next question.
Well, thank you. My name is Yuri. I was the first speaker. And I have the following two comments, if I may. You had a remark there about the right of journalists to ask silly questions. And I have two comments on that. So number one, this remark already means that we scientists have failed. How snobby are we so that you even think that it is important to underline that you journalists have rights to ask silly questions? Again, sorry for that. But the second comment which I wanted to make is that, you know, you're not the only ones who have rights to ask silly questions. Moreover, silly questions are usually the most important ones, right? Because they are quite often the deepest ones. And they are also the most difficult questions to answer. And to underline that we realize how important they are, I would like just to tell you that, you know, when we organize schools for PhD students on certain special, very complicated fields, we sometimes even announce a contest for the most silly question during a school, because again, they are the most important. So one more time, I wanted to underline that, no, sorry, you are not the only ones who have rights to ask silly questions.
This don't mean that we should not go without preparing ourselves. So before meeting any scientist, we should do our homework. And this is the difference between a good science journalist and a bad or a good journalist and a bad journalist in general. So we should be prepared. But if something is not clear, we shouldn't be shy to appear knowledgeless.
Okay, thank you.